It is Wednesday, my friends. Wednesday, the 28th day of April 2010. We're going to be live here for the next 4 hours. Reverend Manning, James David Manning, is going to be joining us on a host of issues with his expose and his continued investigation of Barack Hussein Obama. He will be joining us coming up in the next hour. Then we have Christine Ebersol, star of television, films, and, of course, the theater. She had quite an experience with the TSA over the weekend, and she'll tell her story here for the first time coming up for about 30 minutes for part of the third hour today. And then we've got Judge Andrew Napolitano joining us to talk about the fact that he's being demonized by the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, along with Ron Paul, myself, and many others. But they are certainly picking very, very popular, very, very mainstream people. I mean, Ron Paul has got over an 80% approval rating. Napolitano's views are very populist, very popular. You've seen all the national polls where 80+% of the public, including many Democrats, close to a majority of Democrats, disagree with what the government's doing. And so they want to divide us along party lines. Well, I'm just outside of the whole party line situation to begin with. I'm not bipartisan. I'm not in that controlled system. And we're also going to discuss the Arizona situation because Judge Andrew Napolitano, but we're going to play that clip when we come back in the next break. He has said he thinks what's happening in Arizona is a bad idea from a political strategy point of view. And I can certainly see his point of view and agree with him to a certain extent. What's constitutional is to have the federal government do their job and protect our borders and prosecute people that knowingly hire illegal aliens. That would fix the problem very quickly, not have 2 or 3 raids of a meat packing plant or a Walmart every year. You know, you got 1 million plus illegals coming in a year, tens of millions here, and then they arrest a few thousand at staged raids. I mean, give me a break. It's kind of like these Goldman Sachs hearings they're having right now. They're burning a few low-level underlings for, selling cruddy derivatives and telling their customers it was AAA gold, consciously knowing it was crud. Or, well, you've all seen the senator quoting the email because he had to explain what they were saying. Senator Carl Levin talking about Goldman Sachs execs saying this particular stock is absolute crap, but they use the SHIT term with a Y on the end of it, and it's caused quite a sensation. So we're going to play an edited version of this. A lot of talk radio because it is part of the government. A senator said it. Are airing it on mainline radio. There's no way the FCC can go after them. They're airing it on cable networks because this was said in the U.S. Senate. This is in testimony. This is what was said, and the people have a right to know it. But I'm not going to play it here. Plus, it's ridiculous. You kill 1 million Iraqis in a fake war, in a fraudulent war, and that's okay, and torture's okay, and torture of children's okay, but heaven forbid somebody hear a cuss word. I mean, that's how ridiculous things have gotten in this society. So that is coming up as well in this hour. I also want to take phone calls, but I would specifically ask listeners, because I want to hear what you have to say on this. What did you think watching the Goldman Sachs hearings yesterday? Dog and pony show, whitewash? What do you think about blank fine testimony? I've got a clip of him on Fox News where he was just lying perpetually. That's all coming up as well. We'll tell you what's happening with the stock market globally as it plunges right now. Carbon tax is completely collapsing worldwide. Great news on that front. Stay with us.
$600 million of Timberwolf securities is what you sold. Before you sold them, this is what your sales team were telling to each other. Got it? 105?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Look what your sales team was saying about Timberwolf. Boy, That Timberwolf was one deal. They sold that deal.
This email was from the head of the division, not the sales force.
Whatever it was, it's an internal Goldman document.
This was an email to me in late June.
Right, and you sold Timberwolf.
Transaction.
No, you sold Timberwolf after as well.
We did trades after that.
Yeah, okay. It's the trades after.
Some context.
Yeah,
might be helpful.
The context. Let me tell you, the context is mighty clear. June 22 is the date of this email. Boy, that Timberwolf was one deal. How much of that deal did you sell to your clients after June 22, 2007?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know the answer to that, but the price would have reflected levels that they wanted to invest in.
Oh, of course. But they don't know what it says. You didn't tell them you thought it was a deal.
Well, I didn't say that.
No. Who did? Your people, internally. You knew it was a deal, and that's what your email shows.
I think the context, the message that I took from the email from Mr. Montag was that my performance on that deal wasn't good. And I think the fact that we had lost money related to that wasn't good.
How about the fact that you sold hundreds of millions of that deal after your people knew it was a deal? Does that bother you at all? You sold to customers something?
I don't recall selling hundreds of millions of that deal after that.
All right, let's take a look. Exhibit 166, series of emails. First is June 26, 07. That's after June 22. July 1, 2007, tells the sales force the top priority is Timberwolf. Your top priority to sell is that deal.
Mr. My comment was I didn't recall the sales.
You got it?
We were trying to sell.
Okay, you're trying to sell a deal, and it's your top priority. Come on, Mr. Sparks.
Well, Mr.
Should Goldman Sachs be trying to sell, and by the way, it sold it, a lot of it, after that date. Should Goldman Sachs be trying to sell a deal?
Well,
can you answer that one? Can you answer that one, yes or no?
There are prices in the market that people want to invest in things. I didn't use that term with respect to this deal.
No, it's your sale. Well, who did use that term? Who's Tom Montag? Who's Daniel Sparks?
That's me.
And who's Tom? I know it is. Who's Tom Montag?
Tom Montag was the head of the division at the time.
And he was telling you. You got it.
The head of the Goldman Sachs division on derivatives saying sell our customers absolute crud. Absolute SH-T. Now, again, we knew this 10 years ago. We knew this 5 years ago. We knew this 2 years ago. We knew this 6 months ago. I mean, every radio show we've done with all of the financial experts and economists, I mean, going back to George Humphrey, economist, local Austinite, businessman, former city council member, very successful financial investor. And I remember he put out audio tapes in 1998. Audio tapes in 1998 where he laid out how they were setting up a derivatives bubble thousands of times more than all the real money in the world, all the real assets, to bring in world government. 12 years ago. In fact, he's written 3 books. And I think the first one he wrote, what was it, in about 97, the audio tapes came out in 98, was it Common Sense? After Patrick Henry. You know what? We've got to get those audio cassettes and CDs. And I think we actually still sell them at Infowars.com. We've got to queue it up in the next few days. It'll take time. It's like 9 hours long, if I remember correctly. We've got to find the sections where he breaks that down and play it. 12 years later. I mean, he knew 12 years ago. And anyone who understands financial instruments and fractional reserve banking understands what's going on here. But the point is, he put it out 12 years ago. A year ago, we released the Obama deception. We broke down how Goldman Sachs and others, by name, we cover it in Fall the Republic as well, now out for 6 months, were going out and creating the Ponzi scheme, not just to become fabulously more wealthy, but to implode the economy by design and destroy their competition. And now, what is it, 5 months ago, they had the 5-part series, 4 months ago, 5-part series by McClatchy Newspapers, by Greg Gordon. We had him on the show, where they got separate emails from these Timberwolf emails, where they're talking about the exact same thing. Oh, we're going to get our competition. We'll be the last standing. We're going to consolidate things. We'll make money on the way up and the way down.